about three important types of directives actually. Component directives, structural directives, and attribute directives. These are the three important types of directives we learned. So, how to use class binding, two-way binding, data binding, style binding, all these options. Now, one more important while working with the components, you need to understand about generally you need to understand about event binding. Event binding. Already we are using events. In various occasions, I used a click event. We discussed about working with event. We done, but technically we need to detailedly understand about how to handle the events also. So technically, first point, what is event and how this event binding works here. So in your JavaScript and Angular applications, so they require a lot of events to handle. Technically, what is event? Actually, event is a message sent by sender to its subscriber in order to notify the change. Technically, event is defined in this way. Technically, event is a message sent by sender to its subscriber in order to notify the change. I will show you that. Actually, technically, event follows a software design pattern. So pattern called observer. It follows a software design pattern called observer. Technically, it follows a software design pattern called observer. Actually, observer is a common communication pattern. It is a common communication pattern actually. So in experience level interviews, many times they may ask, so which software design pattern event follows technically? So technically, event follows a pattern called observer. In software design patterns, it comes under communication category. Actually, we call them as behavioral patterns. Common communication pattern, which comes under the category of behavioral pattern. Behavioral pattern. It comes under behavioral pattern. Software design patterns are so many types: creational, structural, behavioral. Behavioral patterns deal with communication actually. I will tell you a general point here. So how it actually works. Generally, suppose while working with events, we know here, suppose we have a function and function is f1. Okay. And some functionality is defined. We have a button. So button click, on button click. So you are using f1, function 1, function 1. Generally, when anyone looks at this logic, many times, generally people think that they are calling, there is a function called f1 and they are calling that function f1. That is what generally many people think. They are calling the function f1 on button click. But actually, event is not calling the function actually. Event is not calling the function. Event is pointing towards the function. Event is pointing towards the function, not calling the function. That means actually you should know that. Suppose I will show you a practical point here. So general practical example here, JavaScript here. A script and we have a body. So in the body section, we have a button. In the button, on click is equal to F1 and click me. Okay, button close. I will save this as a demo.html. Just roughly I'm showing you first its approach. Now let's access this. When I access this here, actually in our logic, we are using f1 function, but there is no f1 function defined here. There is no f1 function defined here. Usually, you may think like it will show an error now because there is no f1 and you are trying to use f1. Observe carefully. I will open the debugger. In the debugger, there is no error. In the console, I don't have any error. That means in the console, there is no error. That means if you are thinking that you are calling a function, and if there is no function and you are calling a function, it should show error. So, but it is not showing error. So you can observe F1 is not there. It is not showing any error. Observe carefully. When I click this button, when I click the button, now at that time, it will point towards that function. That means when you click the button, it will point towards the function. It will point towards the function. And it will check whether there is the function or not. That means it is sending a message